In today's class, we will see what are lists in Python. Let us first see what is the definition of list. So in Python, a list is a data structure that holds an ordered collection of items. That means a list has collection of items which is ordered, which can be of different data type. Now lists are one of the most versatile data structure in Python and are used to store the collections of items such as strings, numbers, or even other lists. That is, in list, you can store either a number or a string, or even it can be a list or a combination of all these data types. Let us see the syntax of list. So to create a list, you need a name and then assignment operator. In square bracket, you have to separate the list element with the help of comma. Okay, so this can be a number, this element or item can be a number or a string or a list, or it can be combination of all these. So in today's class, we are going to see how we can create empty list in Python. We'll see how we can create a list with the mixed value. That means which include all the data types. We'll see what is indexing in list, traversing a list, then list operations we'll see, slicing of list, then list manipulation and some functions and methods of list. Now let us try to understand the important features and characteristics of a list. First is ordered. That means order in which the item or element is added is the same order when you retrieve the list element. Okay, the order will be same. Second thing is mutable. The list is mutable. That means any item can be changed or removed or added. Okay, you can add a new element, you can remove an element, or you can modify any time the list element. Heterogeneous. That means a list can contain item of different data type. As I told you, the element of the list can be of same data type or it can be of different data types. It include number, strings, and even other list. Next thing is it is dynamic. Lists in Python are dynamic. That means their size can be changed dynamically. That means you can either add few elements in your list or even you can reduce the size of your list. Okay. Now indexed. So lists are indexed. That means the first element will always have the index 0 and the elements can be retrieved from the list using these indexes. Index is the position and indexing will start from 0 only. Iterable, the lists are iterable. That means you can iterate over the items in a list. You can use either a for loop or any other loop. Now here are few examples of list. First is a list with numbers. This is a list which is of string element. This is a list which is a mix of or of all different data types. That means this is a list where you can have a number, a string, a floating value, or the fourth element is the list itself. Now let us try to understand the list through practicals. So here I am creating a list. First list is an empty list. So when you take a square bracket without giving any element or item in it, this becomes an empty list. For second list, I am taking marks as the name and then using the assignment operator, I'm giving few marks. For example, these are few marks. Now in the third list, I'm creating a list with different data types. For example, I can keep the name as maybe A. In this, I am taking 45, maybe a name. This is a string. Okay, now I'll take a floating point number and then again I'm taking a list and next element I'll take maybe a number. So this is the first list is an empty list, second list is a numbered list, and the third list is a list of all different data types. Now when I want to access this list, I'm saving it, and now to access my list, I will first take the name of my empty list. As you can see, this is an empty list. For second list, I can use marks and then it will give me the element of my list. The third list is A, so I'll take A and it will give me all the elements of my. Now coming to the next topic, which is indexing. I can access my list element with the help of index. For example, A is the name of my list, and if I say 0, that means the first element. And if I say minus 1. That means the last element. That means you can access the element of your list by using a forward indexing or by using a backward indexing. In forward indexing, the first element will always have the index of 0, second will 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4. That means whatever the length of my list is, in our case, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are 5 elements. That means the last element will always have length minus 1. That means 4. So if I say 4, that means it will give me the last element. So the same way, when we use a backward index, the last element is always minus 1. Second last is minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, and minus 5. So the first element will always be the minus of whatever the length of your list is. Okay. So I will take a variable, maybe b I'll take, and then length of the list I'll calculate by using len function. So b has the length of my list. If I say b, so it's giving me 5. So whenever I am using negative number and b, that means the length, it will give me the first element. Okay. Coming to the next topic, which is traversing a list. Whenever you want to traverse a list, you can use a loop. I am using a for loop for x in, and now I can either use a directly, and then I can print directly the value of x. So this way, x will have all the elements one by one. So as you can see, this is the list. This is the way you can traverse it. There is one more way to traverse your list. For example, I can use x only in. Now I can give range. Inside this range, I will give the length of my list. So when I am using print, the list name is a, then a square bracket in x. As I am using range, so this will give me, so length of a, that means 5. The length of my list is 5. So here it will be 5. 5 means 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the first element will always have index 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And to access the list element, I am using the list name and then square bracket, which is the index operator, and x. X will have different numbers. First time it will be 0, and the last element will be x. The last value of range will be 4. So that is a of 4. So this is the way we can traverse a list. Okay, now let us try to understand some list operations. So here we'll see some list operations. Okay, the first operation we'll see is a list joining. Okay, so for joining the list, you can take another list. For example, we have two lists, marks and A. So if I want to join these two lists, I can do A plus. So you can use this plus operator to join your list and then another list. So the two operands will be the list, and you can use this plus operator. Now let us see how you can replicate your list. So for replicating list, you can use, for example, I'll use marks. So I'm using this marks is the list name. Replicate your list, you can use this multiplication operator, and whatever the number, so it will replicate twice. You can use 3 if you want to replicate it thrice. So you can use this multiplication operator. Just remember one thing, the second operand, when you are using this replication operator, the second operand should be an integer. When we are using this plus operator, both the operands should be list. Okay. Now the third operation, which is the most important operation of any list, which is list slicing. So what is slicing? Slicing is nothing but to take out the sub list from a list. So in this, I'll take my list as A only. So in this, as you can see, the first element is of 0 index. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So when you use a slice, you have to use this square bracket, and this is the slice operator, which is colon. Okay. So the first part, it has a start, then this has a stop, and then this has a step part. So this is the syntax of this slice. So 1:3. That means slice the list one means this one index, and this is 2 and 3. But the stop part is, or the stop index is never included in list slice. Again, I'll take one more example. If A and then giving any start and stop value, just using, so when you use a single slice operator without giving any start or stop value, it will extract the entire list. Okay. Now, the same way, if you are giving only the start value, for example, if I'm giving 2, and if I'm not including the stop value and just closing it through square bracket, that means start from the second index and include all. So if you're not giving any stop value, Python will assume it as the last index only. So this way, so as you can see, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, and all the elements will be included. The same way, if I am giving only the stop value and not giving any start value, that means it will include all the elements from the starting element. Okay. So you can specify, you can give the end value, the stop value. So it will include the starting element, then this is 1 and this is 2. 3, that means the stop value will never be included. So this value is not included. You can even specify the step value. So when I'm giving step value as 2, that means include all the other element. Okay, so that means first element, then skip this, then another element, skip it, and then another element. So this way you can give start, stop, and the step value. When you use colon, and minus, see, it will revert your list. Okay. One more thing is, in slicing, you can even use your negative indexing. For example, I'm using this, and if I'm saying -2, which is the second last element of my list. So that means include this, and second last, which is -2 means this. So the stop value will never be included, I told you already. So this will not be included. I'll show you one more slicing through negative index. For example, if I am saying -5 colon -2, so this will include, this is -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. -5 means the first element. So first element, then say this is the reverse list. First element, then second and third. So second last element will not be included, as this is the stop value. Now let us see list manipulation. So in this list manipulation, the first thing which we will do is we'll use update. So how we can update our list? As I already told you, list is mutable. That means anytime you can change your element. For example, I'll change this which is the third element. Third element has index as 2. So when I say a square bracket into, that means change the third element or the element with index 2. And if I am checking this, as you can see, this is replaced with 34. So this way you can update your list. Now coming to the next thing, which is del, how you can delete list element. So for this, for deleting your list element, use del and then a. And then in this square bracket, you can provide the index. For example, if I'm saying a1, so that means if I check it, you can see one index is a j. So this is removed from our list. Okay. Now I'll show you one more thing. As you can see, the third element in our list is list itself. Okay. So that means we can retrieve the third element. Now, if I want to retrieve only the first value of my third element, okay, so I can do that also. So for nested list, you can access your element like this, or use another square bracket, and the first element has index 0, this is 1. So if I say 1, that means the second element of my list will be, we can retrieve. Okay. So if I want to retrieve the first element of my this list, so I can say 2, and then I can say 0. 0 is the first element. So as you can see, 0 means 12. We can get 12. I'll show you one more example by taking a nested list. Here I'll take list. So another list is 1, 2, 3. So this is my first element, and the second element is also a list, which is, for example, 4, 5, 6. So as you can see, I have two elements in my list. So such type of list is known as nested list. If I say n and then 0, that means first element. What is first element? This list is the first element. So when I say 0, this will be included. And when I want to exit the second element, I'll use n and then 1. Okay. But if in first element also, if I want to exit the second element, so I can use n square bracket 0, which is the first element of my list, close the square bracket, and then again a square bracket. And as I told you, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2. So for accessing the second element, it is 1. So I'll say 1, and then I can access the element from the nested list. Okay, now I'll take a bigger list. For example, 12, so I'm taking a bigger list here. Now let us see some list functions and methods. This is my list. What I'm doing is I am updating my list. For example, I can use any index. I want to include a duplicate value here. So maybe this 12. If I check my list, I got duplicate value. Now, the first method we are going to check is index. Okay, so this means a dot index when I use, and if I give the element, so it will give me the index of my element. For example, a dot index, if I'm using this duplicate value, which is 12, it will give me the index of first occurrence of this element. Okay, so but if you want index of second occurrence of the same element, you can do one more thing. You can use index 12, specify the element, and 1. That means start from 1. So if you can see, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Okay. So this is the method. The name of the method is index. And here you have to provide the element. It will give you the index of that element. Now coming to the second method is append. So append is a method through which you can add element at the end of the list. Let me check my list A. So I want to append. So I'll use a dot append, and then in this round bracket, you can give any element. So whichever element you give here will be added at the end of the list. If you check your list, you can see 69 is added at the end of the list. Coming to the next method, which is extend. So as you can see, we have another list which is marks. So this is also a list, and this is also a list. For using extend, you have to use .extend. So the argument has to be a list only. So I am saying marks, a.extend marks. If you check your A is extended. That means the element of marks is added to the element of A. So A ends here 69, and after that 45, 56, 78, and 90. But if you check your mark, it is the same element only. Okay, coming to the next method, which is insert. So insert is a method which will take the index first, and then the second argument will be the element only. So for this, I'm taking my list. This is my list. I have to say insert, and then give the index where you want to add the element. For example, I'm saying 3. That means add element in third index, and I have to just give the element. So this is the best part of list, that you can use a predefined function and then insert the element anywhere you want in your list. So this will add element 200 in my third index. So 1, 2, and third. That means after 45, 200 will be included. Coming to the next method, which is pop. So pop method is used to remove the element. So it can be used in two ways. For example, this is my list. If I say a dot pop, and if I do not give any argument here, it will remove the last element. that means 3. But if I give the argument, and in this argument, you have to give index. So in this index, if I'm saying 3, that means remove element at third index. So as you can see, 200 just now we have added in third index. And so I have removed by using a pop method and then giving the index here. So these are the two ways you can use pop. Coming to the next method, which is remove. Through remove method, you can delete any element. Let me check my list. This is my list. You have to use a dot remove, and in the argument, give the element itself. In this time you don't have to give the index. Just give the element which you want to delete. So in this remove, when I check my list, 45 is removed from my list. So you can use this method to remove particular element. You can even take this value from the user. For example, I can take int and then input, enter number. So if user says 90, and I can use a dot remove whichever value user has provided. So if I check my list, 90 is removed here. Okay. Okay, coming to the next method, which is clear. So if I use clear method, it will delete all the elements of my list. If I check my list, which is marks, it has 4 elements. And if I use marks dot clear, then round bracket without any argument. If I check my list now, it is an empty one. Coming to the next method, which is count method. Count method is used to count the number of occurrence of any element. Example, if I check A, this is my list. If I check A dot count, and if I say 2, 3, 23, so it will say 1. But if I say 12, it will give me answer as 2. Okay, why? Because we have 2 times 12 is appearing in our list. Coming to the next method, which is reverse. So this is reverse. Okay, so if I use this method reverse, and if I check A, as you can see, this method will reverse the element of your list. Coming to the last method, which is sort method. Sort method can be used to sort your list. If you check your list, this is a list, but the numbers are not arranged here. But if I use a dot sort, and if I do not give any argument here, if I check my list, this will sort it. That means sort it in ascending order. 12, then 23 this way. But if you want to sort it in descending order, you can use a dot sort only and provide the argument reverse is equal to true. Now, before ending this session, I'll show you one more thing. This is the list. If I use del and then a, and if I use slice, for example, if I use del a1 colon and 3, if I check my list again, you can see this. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. As I told you in slicing, the stop value is not included. So this will not be included, and these 2 elements will be deleted.